Most feeding problems in shrimp tanks don't come from bad intentions. They come from feeding without fully understanding how shrimp actually eat. Shrimp are opportunistic grazers that thrive on balance, stability, and natural food sources. When feeding goes wrong, it rarely shows up right away. Instead, it tends to appear later as stress, failed molts, or water quality issues rather than obvious hunger. Overfeeding and leaving excess food in the tank is one of the fastest ways to destabilize an aquarium. Shrimp need very little supplemental food, especially in mature tanks where biofilm and algae are already present. Excess food breaks down quickly, fueling bacterial blooms and releasing ammonia and nitrite, which are both extremely toxic to shrimp. Cloudy water, surface films, foul smells, or shrimp losing interest in food are often early warning signs. Feeding smaller portions, feeding less often, and removing uneaten food promptly is far safer than trying to feed through the problem. Feeding shrimp too often overwhelms the natural balance of the aquarium. Shrimp are not meal-based animals, they're built to graze continuously. Feeding every day, particularly in established tanks, can exceed the biological capacity of the system. Skipping feeding days allows shrimp to return to natural grazing and gives the tank time to process nutrients. Fasting isn't harmful to shrimp. In many cases, it's beneficial. Feeding too much protein for extended periods quietly creates long-term problems. Shrimp do need protein for growth and reproduction, but they're not designed for constant high-protein diets. In nature, protein appears intermittently from microorganisms, tiny invertebrates, and decaying organic matter, not daily concentrated meals. Excess protein over time can contribute to failed molts, shortened lifespans, rapid growth, and increased waste production. Variety matters more than pushing protein levels. Using the wrong type of food for the tank or species limits access to nutrition. Powdered foods are ideal for baby shrimp and filter feeders, but can cause issues when overused in low-flow tanks. Large pellets may be convenient, but they can exclude juveniles or filter feeding shrimp entirely. Food choice should match how food moves through the aquarium and how shrimp physically access it, not just what's easiest to add. Overusing bacteria-promoting powders like Bacter AE can reduce oxygen levels in the tank. These products are designed to encourage biofilm growth, not to function as traditional food. When overdosed, bacterial populations can expand faster than the system can support, consuming oxygen in the process. This may lead to cloudy water, surface scum, sluggish shrimp, or even suffocation. Very small amounts used infrequently, combined with good aeration, are far more effective. Overcleaning grazing surfaces removes the very food shrimp rely on between feedings. Scrubbing algae from glass, aggressively vacuuming the substrate, or overcleaning sponge filters strips away biofilm and detritus. Shrimp don't just eat what you add, they depend on what grows naturally in the tank. Cleaning the front glass for viewing is fine, but leaving the sides, back, hardscape, and filters untouched preserves essential grazing areas. Cleaning sponge filters too aggressively can suddenly reduce available food. Sponge filters are not just filtration, they're constant feeding zones. Cleaning all sponges at once can remove a large portion of biofilm from the system. Rotating sponge cleanings and spacing them away from feeding days helps maintain stability and reduces competition for food. Adding too many botanicals at once can overwhelm the aquarium. While botanicals are extremely beneficial for shrimp, introducing large quantities too quickly increases decomposing organic matter. This can lower oxygen levels, increase bacterial activity, and destabilize water parameters. Botanicals work best when added gradually, allowing the tank time to adjust. Reactive feeding often makes situations worse. When shrimp hide, slow down, or behave unusually, it's easy to assume hunger and add more food. In reality, these behaviors are usually linked to molting, water quality, or stress. Adding food during these periods increases waste and compounds the problem. Pausing feeding, checking parameters, and observing is usually the better response. Feeding filter feeding shrimp like grazers leads to slow starvation. Bamboo and vampire shrimp rely on fine particles suspended in the water column and strong flow. When they abandon high flow perches and begin digging through the substrate, it's a sign the water column isn't carrying enough food. The solution isn't placing food on the bottom, it's delivering appropriately fine particles directly into the flow so they remain suspended long enough to be captured. Changing too many feeding variables at once makes problems difficult to diagnose. Switching foods, adjusting portions, increasing frequency, and adding botanicals all at the same time removes clarity. Shrimp respond best to gradual adjustments. Changing one variable at a time and observing for several days makes it far easier to understand what's actually helping or hurting. What all of these issues have in common is imbalance. Feeding shrimp isn't about adding more food, it's about supporting natural grazing without overwhelming the system. When feeding works with the aquarium instead of against it, shrimp stay healthier, water remains stable, and problems become much easier to prevent.